Welcome to my virtual mid-career retrospective of Outside of Surrealism, all paintings by myself, Omar Majeed, subtitled Intuitive Abstract/Figurative Painting and Naive Portraits, 2016 to 2020. Without further ado, let's look at the paintings. This one's called Road to Nowhere and was painted with a palette knife. Mostly it's an orange diagonal road. I saw it as in a red sky. Came off quite well, I think. I didn't really know what I was doing when I painted this. Still don't, thankfully. This painting of Johnny was painted in my studio. I thought it could have a subtitle of "Are you sitting comfortably?" because he looks quite racked with anxiety. I must really put the sitters at ease. You'll see more paintings of my friends looking anxious. Here's Martin a bit more serene, as I asked him to meditate, so he's got his eyes closed in a stripy jumper. Some of the software recognizes what's in the pictures, and it said there was text in this picture, I think based on the blue stripes on his red jumper. It's quite funny how it gets it wrong, but don't underestimate them. This painting called Jardin, French for garden, is, I thought, a plan view of a park. It's got a tiny bit of red in it that when you see it framed, it's in a big red frame. It's currently in the window of the courtyard. This one was recognised by the AI as being a painting, but it said it was a detail of a painting, which is semi-interesting maybe. It's actually a whole painting. The Fall. This one was inspired in part by, what's he called? Willem de Kooning, that was the name I was searching for, and his earlier work, as well as the pre-drip painting work of Jackson Pollock. It's painted on board. It shows a pair of figures sort of integrated into the background with visible rib cages and a fish in a poisoned pond. This one's called Easy Living and has the word Molo written on it. I don't know why I did that. It just, sometimes these things tumble out my head. Apparently that's Swahili for easy living, I think. I might have that wrong. It's teal line kind of drawing, but obviously with paint on a slightly uneven, tanny brown background. It's hard to say what it's a painting of, but it suggests figuration of some sort. I see it as like a bar scene with someone crouched on the bar, I don't know. Painting of Lorna, which is with her now. She also looks subdued and anxious, perhaps. I don't know how people get their models to radiate contentment. I mean, I don't have that skill. Quite like this painting. Is a painting of Joe, known in Hereford as Irish Joe, with the usual Hereford nickname for what's different about them. Here he is in his yellow jacket. It's a bit in the style of Vincent van Gogh, perhaps, with the chair and it's sort of flattened. I like this one as well, colourful. Here's a painting of Beth in the studio. Paintings in the background suggested by rectangles of colour, and all the paintings in the painting are on the corner palette in the left-hand corner of the painting. Sort of a piece, this one. This one's called Exodus, and it's sold at one of my shows. It's only a small painting. I didn't know what I was setting out to do and was just painting, and out tumbled this forest scene and then these figures escaping through the forest by moonlight. Evocative little one. The painting of Naomi This one from 2017 as well. She also looks uncomfortable. I wasn't intentionally making people feel uncomfortable. It just comes naturally to do so. Um, Here's Caroline with a mixture of sternness and kindness expressed in the face. I sometimes think I capture something in these crude paintings of the person I like to imagine I do. It's kind of the purpose of the exercise. This one's called Witness. It's an abstract painting which I roughly found an outline of a face in the kind of contours of, done very quickly the face, but a bit more work in the background. So it looks like he's seen something perhaps. This one's called Peril, or For Those in Peril on the Sea. Shows perhaps some refugees in a life raft. I think there's one overboard. It's sort of what goes on sometimes and was in the news at the time. It was primed with silver paint and some of the sheen comes through, and I'm pleased with some of the kind of wave-like mark making of the water reflections. This one's called Rose Abides in Chaos, and it's a nude study in landscape because she's recumbent, as they call it, on her sofa. There's all symbols representing the demonic influences in her mind or something like that. This one, Dream of Elephants, from 2018 now. The main image coming through, or perhaps it superimposes, of a close-up of an elephant's eye and trunk and ear. But there's also a figure, it looks like a montage, so it's a bit of sanding and overlaying with this one. This one called View, also in a private collection now. It's sort of mountains or hills or fields or something with a bit of sunset in the background. I think it's quite pleasant, this one. A smaller square one. This painting of Grace was done before one of Lucy Baxendale's ceramic sessions. She was teaching us. The rose, I think, was there that she used as a prop. She's worked as a veterinary nurse and is fond of animals, so there's little pairs of animals in the background and has a naive charm, this one, and colourful. This one's called Heoka, which is a word David Eatwell gave me. He also added the quite haunting face in the painting. He sort of added a couple of bits to a couple of my paintings when he was showing me the ropes a bit with priming and some colour theory and stuff. A Heoka is a kind of trickster creature, and this always made me think of woodland, but I can't really explain why. Stony Ground, this is a very large painting, also privately owned now. It's really quite big, this one. It shows a poppy with what a colleague identified as magnetic fields, sort of deserty colour in the background. I suppose some things grow in difficult soil. This is called The Glasses Trick and was another painting of artist John Burridge, but actually was more of a painting of me, or equally so, when I painted him quickly out of the tube, drawing with the tube. The Glasses Trick refers to the film I Heart Huckabees, where they have this kind of quantum/cosmic understanding of people and objects as coming out of the same fabric of space-time, but although they appear separate, really being part of one thing. And we used to pass our glasses to each other to remind ourselves that we're really the same person as we all are. This was called Untitled. Again, David Eatwell had a hand in this. He suggested the shocking marigold pointing finger or factory or whatever it is, the block of yellow. I painted the background with what looks like a seahorse human hybrid, like a centaur but with a seahorse. And there's also a sort of shocking red on it, which invariably suggests blood, but it's hard to get away from that, isn't it? This one's called Clearing. I think I may have done some work on this since it was photographs and blocked out some of the background, but it shows an interesting stage of it with lots of layers. There's a horse, there's a shed, there's foliage. Um, it was a lot of sanding and reworking on this one. Harlequin Casting Coins, 2019. This was a geometric painting that I found this Harlequin character in the lines and kept a bit of the grid of it, but broke the grid where I wanted to, and he's doing the I Ching. Orpheus, 2020. This shows a character from mythology with his lyre, which is a kind of harp instrument, painted on a colourful background. It's quite a nice one, this one. Tranquility, 2020, more literal scene. Not sure what made me paint it, but it's the walnut tree in my parents' garden, and I'm sat in the treehouse considering the sunset, having a smoke or something. And it's quite peaceful, this one. And Zoo 2020 is one of the later ones. I'd had some instruction from David again for the landscape behind, but didn't know how to finish it and decided to just draw these grotesque and funny animals over the top, with a bird disappearing at the top of the painting. I think the contrast is quite amusing and stark, and it's also quite large, just metre by metre, something like that. Alright, thank you for looking at my paintings. Have a good day.